Welcome to Complete Guitar Lessons. I'm Brad Allen. I'm a professional musician who's also spent over 10 years teaching private guitar lessons. Now I'm doing my best to pass along all that knowledge to you. Today we're going to be talking about the two most common mistakes that I see beginning guitarists make. And I know about these mistakes personally because I made these mistakes myself learning to play the guitar. If I hadn't made these mistakes, I would have gotten a lot farther a lot faster. By the way, if you're enjoying these videos, I want to remind you again, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you'll be notified when I release new videos. I'm putting out new videos every week and I don't want you to miss any of them. Alright, first thing, most students when they're first learning to play the guitar, they're learning to sing and strum, which is fine. That's a great goal in the beginning, is to simply learn to play and sing just about any song you want. You know, you really only have to know kind of a handful of chords to do that and maybe one strum. And so that's a great goal. Personally, I stayed in that particular stage of learning the guitar for a long time, too long really. And the reason is I'm a professional musician, and before I played the guitar for many years, I was a drummer. That was my primary instrument. I still play the drums, but I wanted to be able to play solo gigs. And so in order to do that, I needed to know a lot of songs. So I learned, enough material for 3 or 4 hours worth of solo singing and strumming, which again, that was a good goal. But the thing that I did not know back then, I didn't learn enough specific parts to songs. There's all kinds of ways to learn to do this. I mean, on my YouTube channel, I have a video teaching you to play Hey There Delilah by the Plain White T's. I'm basically teaching you to play that exactly as the Plain White T's played that. And that's a good way to learn. You don't need to do that on every song that you perform. It will definitely make you a better guitarist if you learn to play those parts, at least on some songs, exactly. There's many ways of doing that. As I mentioned, there's all kinds of videos on YouTube with people teaching how to play specific songs or specific riffs from songs. You'll learn all kinds of ways of strumming. You'll just learn how people approached, the instrument. I have a book here, for instance. This is one of the books I had bought early on. Not really early on. I should have bought it a lot sooner, but it's a Beatles #1, their #1 hits. It says guitar recorded versions. So in this book you have the exact parts they played. It shows you the chords, it shows you the tablature, the music. You learn this is what John Lennon was playing on the guitar while George Harrison was soloing, for instance. It keeps the guitar really interesting, #1, and it keeps you growing all the time. Eventually, if you don't move past strumming and singing, you will probably get kind of bored with the guitar. So that's the first thing I would say, is learn some specific parts to specific songs. Along with that, I would also say, if you're interested in playing lead guitar, learn some solos, note for note. For instance, I learned to play Johnny Be Good by Chuck Berry, note for note. I learned to play Two Princes by the Spin Doctors, The Middle by Jimmy Eat World, things like that. And all those things made me a better guitarist. When you start practicing those songs and learning those, you start realizing, okay, if I want to be able to play The Middle by Jimmy Eat World, then I need to work on my tremolo picking. So it forces you to step your technique up. And again, it's fun. The second thing that I think that a lot of people do wrong, again, that one of the things I did wrong, if you're going to play electric guitar, if you're going to play songs that have a lot of distortion, that would include groups like Green Day, Queen, Boston, some of the old classic rock things like REO Speedwagon, Iron Maiden, any of that kind of stuff, metal, hard rock. Basically, you want to practice with distortion on the guitar, at least part of the time. When you're playing your scales, when you're practicing pull-offs, hammer-ons, all these different techniques you're learning, because playing these things on an undistorted guitar, on an acoustic guitar, or electric guitar with no distortion is much different. You won't learn to control the sound. Basically, it's going to sound like a mess when you start. If you went to perform with a band like that and you hadn't practiced with this distortion, it would just sound like a big mess because you're not learning to muffle the strings as you're playing, which is really important when you're playing with distortion. So those are the two things. Start learning some specific parts, and the second thing is, if you're interested in playing lead guitar, especially rock guitar, learn to start playing or practicing with distortion. And that's all I have today, and we will see you next time.